try to relax, and I'm curious, how can you relax when you go to work in a couple days, and it's not it's not a typical work. It's not a typical job that happens on Saturday.
No, surprisingly, at this point, it's somewhat easy for me. Like, I think for all of us, we're all professionals, and I think we all understand that there's no sense in us wasting or exerting any unnecessary energy outside of Saturday.
Until it's time to use that energy, correct?
Right, exactly.
Which is funny. I don't know if you heard the story about what happened in New York City a couple weeks ago when a UFC van of UFC fighters were leaving an appearance. Have you heard that story?
Yeah, that's kind of like the thought I had in my head when I was saying that. Like, I thought of Robbie Lawler saying
exactly, and that's what I was going to say to you. That's exactly what Robbie Lawler said, is, don't waste the energy, because if that door opens up, we're going to be, fighting for our effing lives. So that's exactly what you just said.
Admittedly, I probably kind of subconsciously stole it from him, but...
he'll be okay with it. Where does the nickname Storytime come from?
Honestly, so in high school, a buddy of ours, like in our friend group, put that in his Facebook name, and we thought it was corny. So we all, like a group of like 10 of us, put all of our nicknames as the same thing to kind of clown on him. And I was just too lazy after all the years to change it.
That's the best ever. Honestly, that is the best. It's a great story for story time. That's for sure. I love it.
Yeah.
So, Randy and I just talked earlier on the show about the NCAA football bracket. They're going to expand it to 12 teams next year. And I always say that the NCAA men's basketball is the greatest tournament, but Randy thinks that it's wrestling, NCAA wrestling. And you were the first to qualify from Hawaii, placed 7th in the 197-pound bracket. So, what is that experience like? Is it as great as Randy thinks it is, and should we attend live and in person?
Yeah, the real March Madness, as they say.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't know, to be honest, I'm kind of against basketball. Not really, but my whole family was a basketball playing family. But when I tried out for the team in 8th grade, I didn't make the team, and that's why I made the jump to wrestling. And so I'm all in with wrestling. I think it's so much more fun. There's more action, more physicality, and there's no fouls, and like you're trying to get calls. No, you're trying to hurt the other guy.
Well, it's definitely on my bucket list, and I'm accomplishing 2 more of my bucket lists in the next couple months. I'm going to cover the Army-Navy game, which is, I'm a Navy veteran, that's definitely one. And then I'm going to the greatest scripted wrestling event in the Royal Rumble here, which will be in St. Pete. But I've always wanted to go to the NCAA wrestling tournament. I love watching it on TV, but I just want to, witness the environment, just everything that's going on, X amount of matches going on at the same time. It's got to be fantastic to watch. It's probably even better to participate.
Oh, for sure. Man, if I could go back in time, I wish I could have bought in a little bit more and enjoyed it slightly more. But as a kid who grew up in Hawaii, that time of the year was so rough for me. It was freezing cold. It was dark all the time. And it just wasn't fun. But if I could go back, I feel like it would be way more fun now, understanding what the weather and stuff is like at that time.
For sure. This is a national show, one of, if not the longest running MMA/UFC shows in the country. But we come from Florida, so our winter is from noon to about 3 o'clock today.
Yeah, it was today. We already had it. It's over.
Yeah, our winter's over. So
I wore a hockey sweater just to be warm.
I'm not quite sure when you say winter and cold and all that kind of stuff. But, speaking of Hawaii, can you update, the audience on how the state is doing, after the awful fires a few months back?
To be honest, I'm not too updated on that. I moved to Vegas about 6-7 years ago pursuing MMA, but I can say the bright side of that fire is seeing the community and seeing everyone come together not just in Hawaii, but the Hawaiians that are located in Vegas, like a ton of them came together, different businesses, putting together their time, energy, money to bring together food, clothing, anything you could think of to send back home and help these guys out. And it was just beautiful to see and be a part of.
I agree with you too. Obviously, tragedies are awful, but like you said, I like when the community, the country, bands together, to basically reach out and help our own. We help everybody else.
Yeah.
Let's help our own, which is definitely outstanding. Well, with you saying that you moved to Vegas a couple years ago, there's two things that are most important to me. Well, I guess my family would make three. So, but food is up towards the top. So give me a good, and I know it's not a good time to talk food, fight week and cut down and all that stuff. But where's a good place that the locals go to in Vegas, since I'll be out in Vegas in a couple weeks?
Okay, you definitely have to hit Uncle Frank's, so UNKO. Frank's is normal Frank's Dukes from Bloodsport. But yeah, Uncle Frank's is a great spot. They take care of a lot of the guys on our team as well, and always love to give them the love back.
Well, then we will, my producer Steve and I will be out there in, 2 weeks, I think, for the next pay-per-view, and we will definitely hit that up. But I don't want to get in trouble with the UFC, so let me ask you one UFC question. Give me your thoughts on your opponent.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I think any opponent is a tough opponent. I try to put them in the highest caliber in my head as I can. I feel like thinking of them as monsters and beasts always prepares me in a better way, or gets me in the best mindset to beat them. And I'm just excited to go in there, man. I'm opening up the main card, and I think besides the main event, I think that's the best spot to be on the card.
No, I agree, and I like your thinking there, because a lot of times, fighters do overlook. My trainer here in Tampa, St. Pete, David Vieira, he fought in the UFC, a 412th degree black belt, and he was just in one of Eddie Bravo's tournaments, and he took
sick.
What was it?
No, thanks, sick, awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean, the guy's phenomenal, and he overlooked his opponent, who was a teenager, who tapped him extremely quick, because it was a leg lock or a heel lock or something. I don't remember what it was. And he took it lightly. And so many fighters.
He kind of a thicker kid with long hair. I can't think of his name. I might have came across him on Instagram. I've seen him leg lock quite a few adults. He's pretty nasty.
Yeah, well, and David learned a lesson. He's going to be in another Eddie Bravo. And the guy just won the Worlds. David Vieira just won the Worlds in Vegas. And it just goes to show that if you take somebody lightly, it doesn't matter who it is. Mike Tyson took Buster Douglas lightly.
Yep, 100%.
And look how that turned out. What are some of your hobbies? What do you like to do, for fun when you're relaxing back in Vegas?
Mostly I'm just hanging out with my family. I got a wife and 3 dogs, and for the most part, I'm trying to. There are 2 huskies and a black lab, so they're super high energy. So for the most part, I'm taking them out on my electric skateboard, trying to burn some fuel off of them, and just hanging out, doing family time, and in the mountains, doing hikes, going to see water anytime we can, just outdoor stuff.
So Puna, today is Randy's birthday. He made another lap around the sun. So he was just gifted. He was just gifted a box of old football and baseball cards, vintage collectible cards. Is there anything you collect, for memorabilia or anything that you like to hold on to from your fights?
My wife's a bit better. She just got a bunch of frames, and she framed up all of the fight posters with the signatures on them. But I tend to just kind of give everything away to my friends, my family. I'll give away my gloves, my wraps. A lot of fighters try to save those and stuff, but for whatever reason, I like to just give it out to whoever I can. I don't know.
I'm going to give one little piece of advice, since I have been around the sun a few more years than you. And we do a lot in other sports. I travel with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. And I would tell the players the same thing I'm about to tell you. That all sounds great today, but 5, 8, 10, 20 years down the road, you're going to say, I wished I would have. whether it's, one pair of gloves or shorts or something.
Well, since you have the experience, Randy, please share your Matt Serra GSP story. It's legendary. Help Puna out, and maybe they'll change his mindset on what he does.
All right, so many years ago, one of the top MMA media people in the world, Ryan Bennett, former owner of MMA Weekly, passed away in a tragic car accident. Through the help of Lorenzo Fertitta and Dana White, they allowed me to accumulate. I could get in the back. I talked to a lot of fighters who are friends of mine. And so Matt Serra beats GSP. And Matt said before the fight, he goes, you can have the gloves after the fight and auction it off for the Ryan Bennett family. So after he knocks out GSP, I first went and got GSP's gloves for the auction, and then I go into the locker room, and Matt looks at me, and Matt goes, Randy, I just knocked out GSP. I can't give you the gloves. And I said, Matt, I totally get it. I understand. Whatever. I love you, dude. He goes, how about my shorts? Do you want my shorts? And I said, sure. We'll auction it off. It'll go for crazy money. He goes into the bathroom. He opens the door, and he goes, Randy, I just knocked out GSP. I can't give you the shorts, man. I mean, I can't. I said, I totally get it. He goes, how about my underwear? You want the underwear? And I said, sure. We'll auction it off. And it sold for like $1,200 or something. So,
holy crap.
Yeah, everything is memorabilia, but you also,
But talking about, overlooking a guy, and GSP overlooked, Matt Serra, maybe the greatest upset of all time.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I agree. Yeah, beautiful performance.
Tell the world something about you that you haven't already told other media, other interviews. What is something, really cool or off the wall or crazy or something?
That's a good question. To be honest, I'm an open book, so I tell it all. I'll spill the beans on anything about my life. So that question's always a tough one for me. Let's see. Let me try and think.
Or how about what's the craziest, strangest thing that's ever happened to you involving you in a fist fight?
Sure. I've kind of only, outside of the UFC and MMA, I've kind of only been in one sort of incident, which was kind of funny. It was in Iowa during college. I was in Cedar Falls, just finished going to some bars and stuff. And mind you, it's like my first time in snow and stuff. So, this guy is crossing paths with us and just swearing the whole time. And then just starts cursing at us and whatever. And for whatever reason, I thought it would be funny to make a snowball and throw it at him. And so I throw it at him, and he just turns right around and beelines it to me. And my eyes get super big. I'm like, oh crap, I'm in trouble. And it gets in my face. And then, trust me, at this time, or do anything. And he puts his hands out to push me, and somehow, some way, my hand just shovel uppercuts, punches him in the chin, and he drops. And then I look at my hand, and I look at him, and I'm just in total shock at what happened.
That's good.
It's awesome.
And then you just walked away.
Yeah.
Starting a fight with a snowball.
Yeah.
It's legendary.
You see what cold weather does? Yeah. That's why we need to stay in Hawaii, Florida, even though it gets cold in Vegas, the same thing. In closing, Puna, what can the fans expect, to see when you enter the octagon on Saturday?
They can expect what I always bring to the table. I'm going to come in there, fight as hard as I can, from bell to bell, minute to minute, and I'm going to put it all on the line there and try to set the tone for the card.
There you go. Well, enjoy the process. Enjoy the rest of the week. Your reward, as Eve Edwards has always said, all the training, all the hard work, the reward is the fight on Saturday, so enjoy that. I know we have your address. We're going to send you a care package from 8 Man Strong, as well as some cool stuff from Bucked Up Energy Drink as well.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Have fun on Saturday.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Take care. What a good dude.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that's what I enjoy about this.
Who would have thought that cold weather is dangerous?
It's very dangerous. You could slip. You could slip on a snowball.
Or you could throw a snowball and start a fight.
And win it. That's the thing.
Yeah, win the fight.
That's the best part. Is
if Frosty just had an uppercut with those little stick arms he had.
Well, the carrot tastes good. Let's go hit a break. Coming to you live from the Cool Breeze